left here, we're looking at air temperature, 59 degrees. Then we see our time is 3:53 p.m. Over here, we're looking at the connection. So right now, the app's not connected because our antenna's not connected. We're going to get that done today. And what will normally show up next to these little arrows is this Pentair fish, and that means that this is connected to the Pentair servers, and then you have app control. So from here, we're going to look at pool. So if you click on pool, you can see that little green dot. That means that this feature is running. So that means that your pool right now, your pump is running. If you wanted to run your heat pump, you can click this, hit ultra temp only, and then it's going to give you your options for heating, and you can turn that up and down. And then in a second here, your heat pump will kick on. I'm going to turn that off since we don't need it right now.
Can you turn on real quick? I just want to make sure everything is running good.
So we'll hit ultra temp, and then it should kick on here. It should be telling us on the front of this what's going on. So it should always say NA and then our actual degrees. And I can't tell, is that light illuminated there?
No, sir.
Okay, so then all we have to do is hit the on button. So normally it should be on, it should be set on.
It's working. Yeah.
But then what we can do, if we turn it off, we should hear it kick off. There we go. So it's working fine, everything's working.
So every time we got to hit this button right here.
Yes, if you want to go back, you can hit that the back arrow there. So now we're going to go from pool to features. Features shows you all your different features. Right now we have deck jets.
This is features.
Yep. We've got a cleaner speed, which means just a high speed, and then pool high, which is kind of it's a high speed, but it's kind of a medium speed for what we're doing. And then if we go back, we also have pool. So we've got 4 different options for the pump to run. So we've got pool, which I normally set at 1800 RPMs. Pool high, which I normally set at 2200 RPMs. Deck jets, which I think we set at 3000 or 28 for now, just to see what you like. And you can adjust all those in the app. And then cleaner is just a high speed. I want to say it was around 3000 to help when people like Jason come out and want to vacuum. They can hit that cleaner speed, and that brings it up to a higher speed. Then we've got lights. So if you click lights,
This is lights.
so you can click on lights, and then if you want to turn them on, you can do that. If you want to change the colors, you hit this little guy, and then you've got solid colors that you can click through, and then you have your light shows here. So this will go through a variety of colors, like Party will hit most of the colors, American's going to hit red, white, and blue, that kind of thing. It does take about 15 seconds from when you click it and hit the check mark. You're going to hear this clicking inside here. That's it communicating to your lights to tell your lights what to do. So it does one click, and then it starts clicking through. So you may see a couple of flashes of color, and then it'll eventually set. So now we've got red, so it's going to flip red, white, and blue through there. So then we can turn that back off. And then if we look at schedules, this is your schedules.
This is schedules.
And so schedules is going to go through and show you what's set up in there. Let's say you wanted your deck jets to come on when you came home from work. You could set up, you could add a schedule. So hey, at 4:30 the deck jets are going to kick on, and then when you show up, you can have the lights come on, deck jets come on, that kind of thing. Right now we run the pool 24/7 at our pool speed, which is a low speed, so it's only using about 400 watts, which is a pretty low amount of energy.
That's recommended for the wintertime.
I recommend it all the time.
Okay.
Pool high is where we've got a little bit of a higher speed, and that helps get all the debris off the top with a little bit more surface tension through the skimmer. And you can play with those a little bit. In the wintertime, you may not need pool high as much, but in the summertime, I would recommend having it about 12 hours or so. But it really depends on your pool and your usage. If you're finding that your water's not looking crystal clear and beautiful, first check the chemistry, and then second check your runtime and also your filter. And so those are the things that are going to affect clarity. If your runtime, let's say you wanted to only run your pool for 12 hours a day, then you're not going to get as much filtration, and that means your water is not going to be as clear. So I like to run the filter a lot, and then in pool mode, and then make sure your filter's clean every 3 to 6 months, and then keep your chemistry balanced. And pools, once you get all that done, pools are essentially pretty easy. So then we can go through here. We've got usage. Usage just shows you
This is usage.
kind of like some graphs and stuff of temperature and what's going on in there. It's more just data for people that like to geek out about what goes on in their pool.
Okay.
You've got chemistry here. So
This is chemistry.
if we look at chemistry, we're looking at our percentage output. So that's how much time the salt cell runs. So since we're running this pool 24 hours, if you run it at 50%, that means the salt cell is going to run for 12 hours at a time. It's going to be in sections. It's not going to run 12 hours and then turn off. It's going to be like so many minutes and then so many other minutes. If you turn it down, then you're going to get less percentage. If you turn it up, you're going to get more. And the way that you know what to set it at is by doing a water chemistry test. If you're looking at it and you're going, hey, my chlorine's a little low, you can bump up the percentage and it's going to produce more chlorine. If you have too high chlorine, you can bump it down, it will produce less. Here is where you're also going to be able to see any alerts that you've got. Since we haven't added the salt in yet, it says very low salt, and it's going to recognize that and not run the cell. So that's all of that. Then we've got status.
This is status.
Status just shows you what your pump is communicating, what your heat pump might be communicating, and what your salt cell might be communicating. So if there's some other errors in here, like a communication error, they'll usually show up here. And then settings,
This is settings.
in settings, you've got a ton of information. The only one that I recommend people look at, because you can mess a lot of stuff up really quick, is service mode. So if you click service mode, right now we're in auto. Auto means that your app can control everything and everything's going to run as you have it scheduled. If you hit service, it's going to turn everything off and make it so it's manual control, and then your app can't control anything. So let's say we needed to empty that basket, which we're going to do in a minute. I would put it in service mode. That means everything's going to be run from the pump itself, and you can't control it here. So let's say as a pool guy, I needed to clean out the basket for you. I put it in service, so you can't accidentally turn it on while my fingers are in there playing around with stuff.
Gotcha. Yep.
So service is something that is indefinite, so it will go on forever. If you hit timeout instead, it will allow you to change how long you want service mode to run. So it's normally set to 3 hours. You could bump it up, I think, to 24 hours, and I think you can bump it down to like an hour. And that way, let's say you wanted to add some chemicals, you wanted to bump it up to a high speed, you could add the chemicals, set timeout in there, and then after the allotted time, whatever that is, it'll go back into auto, and then you'll have your app control back, and you'll be able to do everything.